These are the National Hockey League scores for Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. The Buffalo Sabres lost to the Boston Bruins in Boston 1-7. Yikes. For Buffalo, Middlestalt, maybe, I don't know, win a game. I'll try harder. In the, what period was that? In the third, the only goal in the third. Luukkonen with 35 saves, getting the loss, taking the loss, adding that loss to his repertoire. For Boston, Orlov and Luko both in the second. And then Zaka, Postmark, Bergeron, Clifton, and Luko again, all in the third. Swayman with 26 saves. That leaves Boston with a record of 48, 8-5. The Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in Tampa Bay 5-4 in an overtime game. For Pittsburgh, Petrie twice in the second and Zucker in the second as well. O'Connor in the third and Zucker again with the overtime victory. Tristan Jarry with 27 saves. For the Lightning straight to the golf course. Colton in the first, Point in the second, and then Stamkos and Hedman both in the third. Vasilevsky taking the loss with 27 saves. The Nashville Predators beat the Florida Panthers with no scores listed, so I assume it was... Nope. It just doesn't list the scores. It looks like Duchesne and Leonard both got goals in the first. And for Nashville, Lankinen getting the loss with 30 saves. And Montour for the Panthers in the second. Bobrovsky taking the loss with 21 saves. So I guess it was 2-1. They're not showing the scores up top. That's fine. The Ottawa Senators beat the New York Rangers in New York 5-3. For the Sens, Pinto and Brassard both in the second. Brassard again, Giroux and Stützle all in the third. Talbot with 29 saves. For the Rangers, they just didn't look like they were meshing or cohesive, which is fine. They got Kane, so screw them. Kreider in the first, Trouba and Tarasenko both in the second. Halak getting the loss with 29 saves. Your Seattle frickin' Kraken beat the Detroit Red Wings 5-4 in an overtime game in Detroit. Makes Detroit fans super happy getting a loss, especially in the Steel City. Is it even the Steel City? There's nobody left in that freaking town. For SEA, McCann, Bjorkstrand, and then McCann again all in the first. Schwartz in the second, and Bjorkstrand with the overtime victory. Grubauer with 16 saves, and then Jones with 9 saves. For Detroit, Shero and Ernie, sure, I don't care, in the first. Bergeron and Wallman in the second, and Husso taking the loss with 32 saves. The Dallas Stars beat the Chicago Blackhawks 5-2 in Chicago. For Dallas, Hintz ×2 in the first. Ben, Lindell, and Hintz again in the third. Wow, Hintz getting the Hattie. Murray with 19 saves. For Chi-Town, Gutman in the first and Jones in the second. Mrazek with 31 saves, taking the loss. The Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Calgary Flames 2-1 in Calgary. For Toronto, do we even care about these Canadian teams? Not really. Marner in the second, Jarnkrok, I don't care, in the third, and Woll with 25 saves. For the Flameouts, the Flamers, Coleman in the first, and Markstrom with 32 saves. The Minnesota Wild beat the Vancouver Canucks in Vancouver 2-1 with a final score of 2-1. Kaprizov in the first, and Kaprizov again in the second. Fleury getting the win with 21 saves. For the other team that lost, Vancouver, Bozer in the first, and Demko taking the loss with 34 saves. The Montreal Canadiens lost to the Jonathan Quick-less Los Angeles Kings 2-3. For Montreal, Anderson in the first, and Garyanov in the third. Allen getting the loss with 30 saves, taking the loss. For LA, Iafallo in the second. Velarde and Kopi, both in the third. Copley with 19 saves. It's got that P, and then it says Opley. I thought it was Popley, like I don't know. I want to play Popeye with 19 saves. The St. Louis Blues blasted the San Jose Sharks 6-3 in the Ho. For the STL, Perico, Kairu, and Brown and Shen all in the second. Pitlick and Kapanen both in the third. And Grease getting the victory with 22 saves. For the Shucks, that was terrible. Barbanov and Couture both in the first. Lorenz in the third. And Reimer taking the loss with 17 saves. And those have been the National Hockey League scores for Thursday, March 2nd, 2023.